The Celestial Empire, or Points and Pickings of Information about China and the Chinese, by George Mogridge. Chapter 24. Court, Government, Institutions, Tribunals, and Mandarins. It is possible that the same thing may have been said by me before, but if so, I will say it again, that for many reasons I have made up my mind never to be Emperor of China. If Tao Kuang reigns over his 300 million Chinese and Tatars till I dethrone him, his tigers of war may keep their swords scabbarded, for the gates of the Imperial palace will never be broken. If you want to possess a little more trouble than ordinary, I will tell you how to obtain it. With scepter in hand, climb the throne and sit there, and I promise you trouble enough and to spare. If to reign over a great number of people constitutes greatness, and if greatness renders a human being happy, then is the Emperor of China the greatest and the happiest man under the canopy of the skies. Greatness, however, has its cares, and no doubt there are seasons when Tao Kuang would readily enough fall in with the sentiment, "When happy low, lie down. Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown." The Emperor, among his manifold titles, is called Interpreter of the Decrees of Heaven, and his will is the supreme law from which there is no appeal. He appoints his successor, the lives of his subjects are in his hands, and with the breath of his lips he can destroy the poor and the rich, the vicious and the virtuous, at his pleasure. This is a fearful power to possess, a frightful responsibility to bear. He is the high priest of the empire, and as such is frequently occupied in wearisome ceremonials and processions. Pay attention to the following description of an imperial procession to the temple dedicated to Tien, or heaven. This imperial procession was headed by 24 drummers and as many trumpeters. Next to them were an equal number of men, armed with red varnished staves 7 or 8 feet long and adorned with golden foliage. Then followed 100 soldiers carrying halberds, ending in a crescent and gilded at the end. Then 400 torches made of wood, which burn for a long time and yield great light. 200 spears, some set off with flowing silk of various colors, others with tails of panthers, foxes, and other animals. 24 banners painted with the signs of the zodiac. 56 banners exhibited the 56 constellations into which all the stars are divided. 200 fans, supported by long gilded sticks, painted with figures of dragons, birds, and animals. 24 umbrellas richly adorned, and a buffet carried by officers of the kitchen and furnished with gold utensils such as basins, ewers, and seer. The emperor followed on horseback, with a grave, majestic air, pompously dressed. On each side of him was carried a rich umbrella, large enough to shade both him and his horse. He was surrounded with 10 white horses, led, whose saddles and bridles were enriched with gold and precious stones, 100 spearmen, and the pages of the bedchamber. After this appeared, in the same order, the princes of the blood, the kings, the principal mandarins, and the lords of his court, in their habits of ceremony. 500 young gentlemen belonging to the palace 1,000 footmen in red gowns embroidered with flowers and stars of gold and silver, and 36 men carried an open chair, followed by another that was close and much larger, supported by 100 chairmen. Lastly came 4 large chariots, 2 drawn by elephants and 2 by horses, covered with embroidered housings. Each chair and chariot had 150 men following it for its guard. The procession was closed by 2,000 civilians and as many military Mandarins in magnificent habits of ceremony. The edicts of the emperor are written in red. The vermilion pencil is the instrument with which he makes known his decrees. While alive, thousands regard him as a god. One god in heaven and one Ta and Lang Te, emperor on earth, say the Chinese. For they strangely think all the earth is beneath his control, and when he dies, the whole of his subjects go into mourning. The empress is also highly regarded. And while the emperor is the representative of heaven, she personates the earth. The imperial family, the princes of the blood, are created kings at the pleasure of the emperor. There are 2 principal courts in China. The first of them is composed of the princes of the blood alone, and the second consists of the same princes with the addition of ministers of state. You would not be much interested were I to give you a lengthy account of the imperial cabinet and privy council. I ought, however, to tell you that in the cabinet there are 4 principal members of supposed wisdom and probity. They are alternately Manchu Tatars and Chinese with 2 assistants. With these, the emperor on every state affair confers. In the imperial cabinet, there is also a body of men consisting of 6 Tatars and 4 Chinese, who are sent as governor generals into the provinces, and another body of 4 Manchus, 2 Mongols, and 2 Chinese, who examine the translation of documents and forward them to their proper destinations. The ecclesiastical establishments are those of the Te Chang Tse, which announces the festivals, the Hang Lo Tse, whose members are masters of ceremonies on court days, and the Quang Lu Tse, which attends to the cooking connected with the sacrifices. The literary establishments connected with the court are the Ko Tse Kin, or National Institute, the Kin Tin Kin, or Astronomical Board, and the Te Yuen, or Medical Board. But if one of these establishments possessed the knowledge of the whole, it would not even then be remarkable for its sagacity. With very lowly qualifications, China makes very high pretensions. It is said that Diogenes went about by daylight with a lighted candle looking for an honest man. Sir Isaac Newtons are as scarce at Pekin as honest men were at Athens. Were you to light up 10 candles and search, I question much if you would find one. When you worth and wisdom seek, have patience or your hearts will break. The 6 principal boards for transacting the business of the government are: 1. The Board of Official Appointments at Peking, which takes cognizance of the conduct of all civil officers. 2. The Board of Revenue for Fiscal Matters. 3. The Board of Rites and Ceremonies. 4. The Military Board. 5. The Board of Criminal Jurisdiction. And 6. The Board of Public Works. I ought not forget the 2 establishments of Lai Fan Yuan and Tu Cha Yuan, the first being the Office for Foreign Affairs and the latter the Office of Censors. This Office of Censors is formed of 40 or 50 members, having 2 presidents, the one a Chinese, the other a Tatar. The members are divided so as to act not only at court, but in different parts of the empire to censure what is wrong. They have the privilege of being able to send advice or remonstrance to the emperor when they please without punishment, and if they did their duty prudently and faithfully, their value would be inestimable. But alas, this is seldom the case. They oftentimes neglect to give just reproof to the emperor, and he sometimes degrades and punishes them for doing their duty. Almost everything is done in China by rule. It is a methodical country. The practical part of the penal code is arranged under 6 heads, answering to the 6 boards of which I have spoken. The books under these heads are: first, 2 books which treat on the system of government and on the conduct of officers. Second, 7 books comprising the enrollment of the people, lands and tenements, marriage, public property, and other things. Third, 2 books which treat on sacred rites. Fourth, 5 books on military regulations. Fifth, 11 books on crimes. Sixth, 2 books relating to public works. The 6 Supreme Courts, boards or tribunals are the directors of the system, the mainspring of the whole machinery of the empire so far as regards revenue, rights and ceremonies, military affairs, punishments and public works. They are thus divided, each department attending to its particular duties. First, the Board of Official Appointments is divided into 4 chambers: the Chamber of Official Regulations, the Chamber of Investigation, the Chamber of Patents, and the Chamber of Records. Second, the Board of Revenue has 3 distinct treasurers: the Imperial, the National, and the Provincial. Third, the Board of Rights is divided into 5 chambers. They are the Chamber of Etiquette, the Chamber for Regulating Sacrifices, the Chamber of Mutual Intercourse, the Chamber for Arranging Festivities, and the Board of Music. Fourth, the Military Board is divided into 4 chambers: the Chamber for the Appointment of Officers, the Chambers for Providing Charts and C, the Chamber Superintending the Posts and Cavalry, and the Chamber for Attending to the Stores. Fifth, the Board of Punishments is divided into 18 chambers, and every one has duties enough to discharge. Sixth, the Board of Public Works is also divided into 4 chambers: the Chamber of Architecture, the Chamber of Government Stores, the Chamber of Hydraulics, and the Chamber for Mausoleums. In speaking of the people of China, I gave you the picture of a dandy Mandarin. You must not suppose that the whole or the greater part of the Mandarins are like him. He was indeed a dandy. The Mandarins are the magistrates of the empire. It would be difficult to state their number, but it must be very considerable. A part of them are civil and a part military. You remember no doubt that I said the lordly appearance of a splendidly attired Mandarin of the first class is expressed by the Chinese phrase, "He walks like a dragon and paces like a tiger." Mandarins, who are of no less than 9 classes, are distinguished one from the other by an embroidered badge on the breast and back, which is very splendid, and by the buttons in their caps. Odd as this may appear to you, the custom of our great men wearing stars and garters would appear quite as odd to a Chinese. The highest or first-class Mandarin wears a ruby button, the second a coral, the third a sapphire, the fourth a turquoise, the fifth a crystal, the sixth an opaque white or pearl, the seventh one of wrought gold, the eighth one of plain gold, and the ninth one of silver. The Mandarins are the real nobility of China. The mere princes have but little influence. Here and there may be seen a Mandarin with 2 peacock feathers in his cap, but such personages are rare, for none are thus decorated who have not performed some signal service to the state. Tao Kwang often gives away a button, but he does not often give away 2 peacock feathers.